Good morning and welcome to the Autopsy of Her, Healing, Evolving Resiliency. Happy Monday to you all. I hope that you all had a wonderful weekend. I hope your weather was great wherever you live in the world. And I just hope that you took some time out to relax, enjoy your time, enjoy your family, enjoy your friends, but most of all, that you took some time out for yourself. So I am Iris Owens, your host, and on the line with me this morning, my beautiful sister and co-host. Good morning, honey bunny. How are you
Good
today?
morning, honey bunny. Yeah, I'm great. Happy Monday. A little, I had a busy working weekend, but
Yes.
and Monday I try to treat Monday like a rest day.
Uh-huh.
Say we had to work because you're traveling, so we had to get this in. So
Yes.
got to do what we got
Yes.
to do.
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. Stephanie Gianni. Honey.
Yes, absolutely. I feel like I don't know, but for the last I feel like summer came and not even summer. I just feel like the last few months have been like back to back action packed stuff going
Uh-huh,
on. Which
uh-huh.
I'm not complaining because like I
No,
always
no,
say,
no,
I rather be busy and as I say, amazingly productive, not busy, but being amazingly productive and
mhm,
fall asleep at night tired
mhm.
versus that I'm sitting here going, oh my God, what did I do today? Did I accomplish anything
Feeling your
today?
thoughts.
Right. And sitting there staring at the ceiling, going, now what am I going to have to do differently tomorrow to not repeat this same non-productive day again? So you have to, so we do appreciate being amazingly productive.
To
And
be honest with you, I can't imagine either one of us ever having a non-productive day.
well, this is true because
It, it's the
we always have something going on there. We're always cooking something on a stove. There's
exactly.
always a pot boiling something.
It's the process of doing what you have to do and doing what you want to do. That's what
Absolutely.
it comes down to. Sometimes on your plate is more things that you have to do than what you
Right.
want to do, and that becomes a
Right.
day like I just don't have anything to do because you just don't want to do it.
Right. Right. Or you too doggone tired to do it. So you just like, okay. So, but it's so funny. So today we're gonna do a few things today. So first I'm gonna give you all an update from last week. Remember, I was talking about this gentleman who went from security guard to doctor. So his name is Dr. Russell Leddit. I want to give this brother his flowers and his accolades. And I do not, if I'm going to talk about somebody, I want to get it right, right? So this brother was a security guard. And in 2004, he joined the Navy. He spent 5 years in the Navy. And then after that, he went to the University of Baton Rouge. In 2013, he received his MD in molecular oncology and tumor immunology in 2013. And then in 2018, he attended Tulane School of Medicine. And I believe that's where he just finished, he earned his MBA and then his PhD. So in October, so I should go back in October 22, 2020, I'm sorry, he was a security guard. He was still a security, no, I'm sorry, he earned his PhD. And then he got his MD, I believe is what he did. I think he did it kind of in the reverse. I have to make sure I did that right. But my point was from last week that this individual showed great resiliency because as the security guard in the hospital in the School of Medicine at Tulane, he was very interested, but he had not been to college. He, again, graduated high school, went and spent 5 years in the Navy, and that's how he was taking care of his family. And
Oh,
he asked a doctor if it would be okay to come into the operating room and to see this particular doctor operate. The first person that he asked told him why would he want to do that, because he was never going to be a doctor. And so for me, it is the resiliency, and it's also the thing of never count people out, because in a short time, I mean, he had already been in the Navy. And then in 2000, what did I say, 2013, he started, he went to school, went to college. And then in 2022, he finished with his PhD. That says a lot about a person. And this man came from humble, poor beginnings, as one would, and he said that. I'm not saying that. He grew up in Lake Charles, Louisiana, single mom. He talks about how they had to borrow water from people to be able to bathe and wash dishes and things like that. So my point is about this individual, and like all of us have that inside of us somewhere. Sometimes you just got to dig deep to find it. Is that it really is not about where you came from. It's about where you are going and what you see for yourself, right? That's why we always say, don't keep looking back, because you're not going that way, right? Everything that you are looking to do is ahead of you. Whatever the past is, whatever you went through, and granted, trauma can stop us from doing a lot of things in our lives if you let it, right? Because even with your trauma, even with your hurt and pain and disappointments in life, you have to find a way to move forward in it. So I just celebrate Dr. Russell Levitt, because he is a prime example of someone tells you no, and he says, and I can't quote what he says, but he says that's their opinion. Your no doesn't mean anything to me. And I mean, you have to look him up to really watch his interview, but he uses something like those words, and I don't want to mess it up, but he talks about how he doesn't accept people's no's, and that's how he got to where he is. And I love that. I think that's just an amazing story, right? That
ain't no
don't count anybody out. Don't count anybody out.
That's true. And watch your language that you use to people. We were at an event on we went to my niece's baby shower over the weekend, and my son came, and a lot of family members hadn't seen him because he goes to school in California. And they were like, oh, just stick with it, because that film industry is not easy, it's hard. And I'm like, I was just like, do not say that to him.
Right. And you think that's encouraging.
Exactly. It's not encouraging. Yes. And not to mention, my son has already had a lot of success with what he's been doing. I mean, he made his first movie at 11. Like, don't say, oh, my boy, I don't want to hear about it. And I was trying, I didn't want to like jump in front of my nephew. Right. But I'm like, don't say that. You have to be very mindful of things you say to people just in general. Yes. Because it does. I never forget, I got, one of my degrees in, fashion design. And I had been designing clothes since I was 7 years old. And just was like my path. But I think because I was listening to TD Jakes yesterday, and your gifts, sometimes you don't recognize your gifts, or you don't see them as a gift. Right. And now I realize that was a gift for me. Right. Absolutely. But by the time I had started my business when I was 14, actually making clothes for people and making money, it was like, oh, and I think that my mother was like, oh, you need to go into business. Like, she didn't really want me to do that, really. So she wasn't really encouraging of that. Right. But then when I finally I think I want to do lingerie, because I used to work with a lot of lace and satin. And I never forget, my cousin's girlfriend said to me, oh, you're not going to be able to do that, because now you got to deal with, I think she was talking about Hanes at the time, another brand she had called. And I tell you, it made me feel so bad that I stopped working with lace and satin. I just never really worked with lace and satin anymore. And it's just those words that just made me feel bad. Right. And then not having the encouragement of my mother either, because she did not, no. She wouldn't even, she paid one semester and was like, you want to go to school for that? You're on your own. You got to find a way to pay it for yourself, which I had to do. Right. So you have to be really careful the language you speak to people about different things. And
again, be careful about the language you speak to yourself, right? Be careful what you say about yourself to yourself, because yourself is listening, right? Sometimes we are our first worst blockage to moving forward. you know, and then sometimes the people in our lives don't understand how they are compounding that doubt and negativity upon us when they say that. Never tell somebody, you know, because sometimes people can only see beyond, that's what, you know, can you see the forest beyond the trees? Well, sometimes people can't, right? And because my glasses may be rose colored, where I do see everything rosy, and your glasses are dark, that don't put that on me.
Exactly.
Right? Because I'm not judging you. Right. I'm not judging you because you look at your glasses through the dark lens, and I choose to look at my glasses through the rosy lens. But we do need to be mindful of how we speak to people and be positive. And again, as your mother always said, if you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say anything.
And you know, and sometimes like overachievers have suffered from that. Like it's like Tom Cruise has like one of the number one movies right now. He was the number one movie at the box office last week, which it was the part 2 of Top Gun. Here we go, make the movie 36 years later, I believe, the second part, and it's a hit. But his father has never recognized him, and until this day, and he still probably wants that. I know up until about 10 years ago, he still wanted the recognition from his dad.
Of course.
And still fighting for it. Because, you know, his dad just like, you know, everybody else, oh my God. I mean, you have to hear the weird stories or whatever, but he's still Tom Cruise. And you cannot deny that he is not an excellent actor. You know, he's just a phenomenal actor. But, you know, and it's sad. You know, Jamie Foxx has the same thing, you know, with his parents, that they don't give him his flowers like you want from a parent. And sometimes people like that. It's your family members, you know, all the outside, the people that you don't know just love you so much, everything you do. And your family members, you know, think nothing of you, want to make you feel bad about yourself. And it's sad. It's sad because you should get your flowers from home.
Well, funny you would say that, because our topic today, that's a good segue into what we're gonna talk about today. I know we talked about a lot already, but what we're actually talking about today is infringement rights. Now, you all are probably saying, what is that? What are you talking about? Infringement rights. Because of course, what is this whole podcast about? Right? You know, all the many facets of womanhood.
Exactly. Yeah, because I'm going to say we're diamonds.
Yeah, all different, all the many facets of womanhood. And exactly. it's also about, you know, the rights of a human being. In this case, the rights of a woman. So, you know, we have to touch upon Roe versus
what happened on June 24th.
Overturned. You know, we have to talk about it. And so this is not about religion. This is not about judgment. This is not about whether you should or shouldn't have an abortion. No. It's not about that at all. This is really about the infringement upon the rights of someone else to be able to make decisions about their own lives, right? We're talking about grown people, we're talking about adults, we're talking about things that sometimes you make decisions in life, sometimes you didn't make a decision in life, but you are in a situation that you still should have a right to make a decision about what it is that you want to do. So,
and sometimes it's not always about an adult. You know, sometimes it's about an 11-year-old child.
Absolutely.
You know, that has been raped by their brother or their uncle, and now they're pregnant.
Right. And now 9 individuals, right? Well, 6 of those 9 people decided that a woman should not have the right to do that, because it was 6 versus 3, which overturned the Roe versus Wade. So we just wanted to kind of delve into this a little bit today. Neither of us are lawyers. Neither of us are proclaiming to be lawyers or to understand the laws, but we do want or understand the law in the way in that we are, you know, we're going to give you the breakdown, but we do want to talk about it from the standpoint of what does this mean for women? If we are now at a point where we already, I've always said as women, we struggle so much to be heard, so much to be seen, so much to be respected, to be given the ability to be, right? To be, without someone feeling as though they need to keep um, a thumb on us, or keep
A foot on it,
foot
foot
up,
on our neck.
right, a foot on our neck.
Mm-mm.
This is just, it's just very upsetting, and it's very daunting that 53 years later, something that was put in place is now being reversed. And I've heard arguments on both sides. Of course, one, there are a group of people who are saying, well, this now gives you all the opportunity to go back and make it more democratic, make it more of a decision. I've heard people argue about it that, oh, like they're comparing it to the gun law, like saying there was a law put in place that says that, we have the rights to bear arms. There's no law that was ever put in place that says a woman has the right to have an abortion. Okay, well, there was, to protect the woman to be able to make that decision. And now that has been reversed. So, yes. So our conversation today is about infringement of my rights, right? It is interesting to me, I think Steph and I both agree, that people can campaign, get on TV, and hold a gun against a young child and say that this is my right to be able to bear arms, and this is the platform I'm standing on in order to be elected. And this is real. This is what happened in the state of Georgia. And this person was elected. Okay, great, fine. Everybody has the right to choose whom they want to represent, or want that person to represent them. But why is it that when it comes to women, i.e., even with, a woman being abused, right? We are always told we're the weaker sex, right? As if we do not have the ability to think or process, or we have made great strides in life. And without a woman, where would the world be?
Exactly.
And that's not taking anything from a man, but without a woman, without women, where would the world be? God did not make a mistake when he created women, right?
Not at all.
He purposely put us together and made us, right? Wonderfully made, right? So how is it that yet we are made in the image of being a helpmate, being smart, being intelligent, being resourceful, being able to overcome so many things, and yet there is still always the kind of hook that keeps coming back saying, oh, no, come back over here, stay in this area. You are not allowed to go forward.
You're moving too far away. You're moving too high. We got to bring you back down. We got to put you back in that we think you should be.
Right.
You think we should be.
Right.
And no, I like that. And the reality is that because God created us to be a helpmate to you. And unfortunately, not even prior to our births, it has changed a lot, because we were created to be a helpmate for you, but we had to end up being the person that took care of everything, because you were no longer there by circumstance or just by your own decision. Okay.
But what about a helpmate? Doesn't mean it has to be only to a husband, right?
No, not to be a helpmate to anybody.
No, but I'm saying we in using that terminology, I don't foresee, or I don't think when it comes to women, like I always share the fact that I don't know if many people know. So when women were being abused, and we're still being abused and attacked by their spouses or men or people that they were involved in, and they were abused, and violence was portrayed against them, and a woman would go and she'd file a report, And it's still the same, you know, this restraining order. We all know restraining orders don't work.
No, they have to be enforced.
They're not being enforced, and they don't work.
You have to enforce them, and that's not the way that's going to work.
And they don't work. And so because there's not enough people in the world, enough police officers, enough anybody to be able to say, once this woman goes and files this restraining order, that someone's going to make sure that this person who it's been filed against is going to be followed. But many people don't know that the laws for the protection of women and children was designed from the law to protect animals. So that law was in place first, that animals needed protecting because they were weak and they were vulnerable and they needed protecting. And so you put this law in place to protect animals. And it is interesting to me that we will fight, and when I say we, I'm talking the human race, we will fight harder for the rights of an animal than we will fight for the rights of another human being. And it's like, that includes women. We seem to, no matter how much we do striving to do, to work, to be, and it's not even sometimes that we're trying to be equal. We just want to be the women. We are women. We just want to be the strong human beings that we were created to be. And yet we get pulled back down off that ladder. We're climbing up the ladder. We're doing our thing. And then we get punched in the gut with something so devastating. And so it behooves me to understand, like, yes, the Supreme Court is designed and created, compiled of 9 individuals, right? 6 of those are men and 3 of those are women, right? So I did not go to look because I don't know that you can see, and I'm sure you can, to see how they voted. I'm absolutely sure you can see that.
Oh yes, you did, right?
But we didn't go to look there. But it's interesting to me that even in this day and time, that someone could come along and infringe upon the rights of another human being in such a way that, what if I just, regardless of whether I'm married, not married, I'm in partnership, not in partnership, I have a support system, I don't have a support system, I'm working, I'm not working, I'm a stay-at-home mom, or I'm out and going to a job someplace else every day. Regardless of who I am, my background, my education level, you don't have the right to tell me what I can and cannot do with my body. And yet, when you then have women who are unable, like, let's just say you are exercising your right to procreate and bring children into the world, and yet I cannot take care of these children. I cannot take care of these children. I don't have the means or the mindset to take care of these children. And then you look at me and say, oh my God, you're an awful mother. You're an awful human being, because why do you have all these children? Right? And then, so if I decided I don't want to have all these children, and maybe I didn't make a right decision, none of us make the right decision all the time. It is not right, and it's not fair that someone gets to say, well, now I'm going to punish you by not being able to rectify your decision in that manner anymore. So tell me now, what happens to all the babies that are not wanted? So do we end up now like other countries where we have thousands of children who are orphaned, right? Or now is there going to be an influx of like adoptions where there'll just be a plethora of babies for people to adopt now, because women will be forced to carry this child regardless of how they became impregnated, whether they were raped, they were molested, they were underage, they were manipulated, they were drugged, or they just simply had sex and got pregnant.
No, of course, there's gonna be more. I mean, children abused at such an alarming rate in this country. It's
Absolutely.
Gonna be more of that.
Absolutely.
And that, which is just sad. You know, it's just really, really sad. And then I think that, the jails are privatized, and this is a whole nother setup to have, more income for people that own the jails, because they will make that assessment by the time they take the third grade test, how many jails they have to build. So they know that if these babies are um, being born to mothers who are disenfranchised, that 9 times out of 10, a certain percentage of them will end up in the system.
But again, that's infringement of someone's rights, right? Because if you already know that I am not capable of doing something, and yet that's like saying I go and I apply for a job, and you decide you're going to interview me. You've read my resume and clearly seen that I don't have the skill set which you're looking for. But you decide, let's be experimental. Let's give this person an opportunity. You hire me and I do an awful, awful job at this job. So much so that my lack of skill set or ability creates devastation. Like time is lost, money is lost, good people walk away from the jobs or get fired from the job, or whatever the case may be. It's a domino effect of not making the right decision, right? Or making a decision and not realizing there are some things I need to adjust here and rectify. So what do we do now by telling a woman, oh, if you happen to get pregnant, whether you're in a relationship, not in a, I don't care what it is, because I feel like there's so much stigma, right, around the fact that only women can have abortions. Men can't have abortions.
Well, that's why they do the thing they do to keep us down. That's the idea of men. But it is deeper than that. It's not about
it's deeper than that. It is a thing of control, because I don't understand.
But it's not even about, it's about control, but it's really not about control. It's about money. When the whole big picture of it comes to, it's about money. It's about minorities and majorities in this world, in this country. That's what it's about. And that all goes to money. If we're the minority, we're not going to have the control and the money. If we're the majority, we have the control of the money. Now, so if the minority has all the children, the majority has the children and the powers that be that think they're the better people that are in place, therefore they have more money, more control. Now you put now the minorities and the disenfranchised, it's more of them. So now we could build more private jails, put them in, and now we're making money, for all the generations of all the majorities is coming.
Yeah, but
33% of white women, it's 33% white women have abortions,
right?
And in this country, they want them to keep these babies because they feel that now they're becoming the minority. And
but here's the thing: the birth rates have been down on all levels, right? I don't have numbers, but I do know that they've been down. Abortion rates have been down.
They have been down, yes,
right? So I'm not understanding why this is, and I hear what you're saying. It's a thing about money, right? And so when this was brought forth in 1969, right? Mm-hmm. In 1969, where in the state of Texas, it was a woman who had already had 3 children, right?
She
had 2 children and was pregnant with a third, exactly. Right? And did not and chose to have an abortion, which I'm sure at that point
she wanted to, but it was illegal in her state of Texas.
It was illegal, and I'm sure even at that point she had to have permission of her husband, because back then, if you couldn't even have a checking account without your husband saying yes or no, right? So now we fast forward to where we are today, and like I said, I've been listening to the different sides of this. Right, Steph, there are women in jail in states where there's one woman in jail. She had a miscarriage and they charged her with manslaughter because they said that she purposely did something to have the miscarriage. There's another woman who's in jail because she was doing meth and she had a miscarriage, and so she's in jail, right? But the number of the women in jail is pretty high, and it's somewhere like 50 something percent. They're African American, and then after that, it's Latina, and then after that, it's probably other, right? Because
I don't know that I don't know. I would like to. We're going to research the numbers of how much you make off of all these people that are in jail, because there's money being made. Also, it's not only are they looking for these babies that are born to disenfranchised mothers, that a percentage of them will end up in the system. Now they're putting the women in the system too.
But what's even more crazy, when some of the arguments that you've heard is that, it's unnecessary, it's hurtful to abort a child and do that to a child, and the pain that they suffer. Do you not think it's more painful that you bring a child into the world that you cannot take care of? Not just financially, because many people have grown up and survived not having the things that we say you need in life. Basic needs though, but basic needs not being met, but emotional, right? Not having the ability to even get a good education, to be able to go forth in your life, not having emotional support, not having someone who is able to teach you how to go forth in life, right? And now you're not going out into the world prepared if you have a mom or you have a dad, because sometimes it's a single dad, right? Who just does not. Look at people who have multiple siblings, right? Multiple siblings, like you, right? Now,
I have 11 siblings.
You have multiple siblings, but in your situation, all of you were not always in the same place at the same time, right?
Yeah. But like seven of us at the
okay, so seven of you all together. All right. Now imagine back then we weren't even having conversations about where you could tell your parents, oh my God, that really hurt my feelings what you said to me. It wasn't even a thing, right? Mommy, did you have to say it that way? No. That wasn't a thing, right? Now that's a thing. But just imagine,
right? You just said you do it, you didn't do it back,
right? Right. Just imagine now that you're going to tell a mother, right, that even if I only have one child, and I become pregnant, and I decide that this is not what I want to do, right? Again, this is not about religion. This is not about God. This is about another human being having a right to make a decision based on their circumstances and what would be best for their life and their family and going forth in life. And again, not judgment. We're just giving scenarios, because why is that okay? Is it just because we're women that you feel we're not able to make an educated decision? We're not able to make a decision about
I don't think that it's about the decision. It's the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is that as all the gains that we have that in this world, not only in this country, as women, we are just we're surpassing men in some aspects. And this is another way to bring us back down. Like you said, bring us back down that ladder. That's what it is, because it's like the reality is some of the things that women are accomplishing in this world. If you had a whole bunch of children, you couldn't be able to do it. Yeah, you just wouldn't be able to do it in some aspects.
I understand that, but I'm trying to figure out where's the balance.
Well, they don't want any balance, because now because a lot of men feel like, oh, women have all these opportunities, and we do, and as we should have the opportunities. You know what I mean?
They have the opportunity as well.
Yes, but they don't feel that they have the opportunity. They feel like they're giving us all more opportunity than what they're getting. So now here we are, we're getting our education, we're going to school, we're CEOs, we're presidents, we're chairmen, we CFOs, we're running our own companies. We are bosses. In one
Absolutely. And always have been. There's just a whole lot more of us now that are bosses.
A whole lot more people in the world. Remember, I mean, my mom always had her own business. My mom was born in 1922, and my mom was a boss.
Right.
And my mom made more money than my father.
Yes.
So that was just the way that it is. And we lived very well because my father, he definitely, don't let me get me wrong, he could trip, but I knew that my mother, you know what I mean? Like, we're going to live here, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And that was the way that it was, So, and I saw where I grew up in Bergen County in Teaneck, and there was a lot of women that, ran their households and things of that nature and had really good positions. So we're more than just teachers. And I mean, not to say unless you don't want to be a teacher,
no,
but you could be that. But I'm just saying now we could be the principal, and so because all of my sisters went into the educational system. So it's bigger than
Steph, what do you think is going to happen now? Like, so let's look at it from the perspective
I think that it's going to be a lot more, like, it's a lot of more abused children. I think it's going to be a lot more children in jail. I think it's going to be a lot more women in jail because of this. And it's going to be a sad day in America. That's what I do feel.
I also think there are going to be a lot more women who are going to be put in danger, meaning i.e. back in the day before Roe versus Wade, right? Before 1969, where women had to either, unfortunately,
abortions.
Illegal abortions, or taking things or inserting things into their bodies to abort this fetus. I think we're going to see, unfortunately, some devastation that's going to happen from this because we don't have, I'm not sure how much data there is. I'm sure there is, but realistic data, because prior to 1969, having a conversation, I'm sure, was about abortion was probably not something that was discussed at a dinner table in many households or many boardrooms or of any sort, right? And so I say there's probably not a lot of data because no one was coming forth and going, so I had an abortion, right? Or I'm going to have an abortion, or I was thinking about having an abortion, because it was so taboo to do that. And now it's going to be very interesting. Again, what's going to happen to the number of children who are going to be relinquished, right? Where their parents are just going to say, I can't, I don't know what to do with you. I don't want you. And I'm going to give you away without thought. And I think that is, to me, that's more scary to me than you saying, okay, your state is no longer going to allow abortions. Okay, I'm not worried about having an abortion. I'm worried though about the women who will find themselves in that crossroad as to, what do I do from here, right?
Well, I was given away, that, and because part of it was because my mother was 22 and I'm her fourth child, and she could not afford me, in a getting ready to get out of a marriage, wasn't in a good marriage. And so I was given away, to my mother's hairdresser at the time, who later on, she was my mother's godmother, and then she became my godmother. And then I was legally adopted when I was 14. So it happens a lot. And I know a lot of family members in my family, and I know people in general, that children have been given away. I mean, something like, for me, I can honestly say it was successful in a way that I still was with my siblings at the same time. It was like, so like we lived in the same place for a while, before we moved to New Jersey. but it was never like, I always knew I had two mothers. No, I always knew my siblings. To this day, I still do not know my biological father. So a lot, and I do feel like you're saying, I think a lot more of that will go on. I mean, you do feel a ways about that. I do, but now I've got like learned to like really let it go. I think for me, it made me more very like, as far as I became, I really was really careful with my body. I do believe in a woman's right to choose, and I just never wanted to put myself in a position that I would have to choose.
Understood.
Because of my personal circumstance, that, because it is what has happened to you that makes you who you are. And knowing that I would have my children and that I was their mother and this was their father, that was also very important to me.
But Steph, what if the woman didn't have the opportunity to choose from the beginning?
Exactly.
She's attacked, she's raped, she's molested. Yes. She doesn't have a choice.
She doesn't have a choice. And I know like that happened, to my niece. And you don't have a choice, you know what I mean? But I think that, and I do think that that's not fair. That's the thing I'm talking about. Like, because if a child is raped by their uncle, they get pregnant, or their grandfather, whomever, or their brother, and now they're pregnant, and it's incest on top of all of that. Now they have to have the baby? No, because that's why I was saying earlier, I said sometimes it's not about an adult, it's about a child. It's about you protecting your child. You didn't, I mean, never in a million years did you think that your brother was going to rape your daughter. But here it is. Now you have to face this. And now I'm like, am I letting my 13-year-old, my 12-year-old child have this baby? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I know, because I was raised by a pedophile who I seen molest my sister, molest my cousin. And lucky enough, there was no children that came out of that situation.
Right.
But if there was, then what would they have done? We're talking about in the late 1960s, early 1970s. That would have been devastating.
Right. And so back then there were no well, I'm not even going to say not back then, because there wasn't conversation then. And there's still not conversation, because we've talked about this before, how the family secrets, right? We know that there are family secrets. We all know the strange uncle, or the strange aunt, or the cousin who makes your hair stand up when they come into the space, right? Or the people that your parents warn you about, but they never tell you really why you should never be with them, right? Or the bottom line is that we have predators in our families, right?
Yes, we do. Yes,
and we do. Then we're not protected in the family, because the family feels you got to protect the predator as well, right? Because for whatever the reason being, they're still family. I get that part, that they're family, but the family, that particular predator, is dangerous. And you know that they are capable of doing God awful things to another human being.
Horrific things. But you
can't feel my family now. So now here you are. It's almost like we're right back to everything prior to 1969. Because now women won't come forth and say, hey, somebody raped me, somebody molested me, because now I'm afraid that if I end up pregnant and I was a virgin, I wasn't even having sex, so now I'm pregnant, right? So now I'm forced to have this child regardless of what the situation is. It's so much to try to unpack, and I don't know that we're gonna unpack it. This whole decision, again, we're only human, and even though we are given titles and positions to do certain things based on your own biases and your own prejudices, sometimes you are not doing what you believe is for the greater good.
No, it's
And
for the greatest.
I think this is what this situation is. This is not going to be something for the greater good.
That's for the greatest
out. Yeah, I think we have gone back 53 years.
But now
we've gone backwards 53 years.
Because if you have money, you could fly to a state.
True.
And take care of the situation.
True.
So it comes to the have and the have nots.
Right. Or you can go to boarding school, or you can go, right. you can travel abroad. Yeah.
But you can have money and you have your own private doctor.
Right.
What that private doctor does when he comes to your home, you know.
Absolutely.
So it really it makes it between, because like they've been saying for many years that now there is no middle class.
Right.
So now the divide is even greater.
Yes. You know, because it really is the haves and the have-not.
It's the haves and the have-nots.
It just depends on what level you're on of the haves and the have-nots. That's really what it is, right? Exactly. This is why there's no such thing really as a middle class, you know, because now, even with inflation right now, right? We all could feel right now like we are in the have-not section, because when you go to the grocery store now, everything costs. You used to be able to buy a week's worth or 2 weeks worth of food with $200 or $300, right? Because most times you were just kind of replenishing those things that, you know, are more perishable. Now, right now you go to the store, you spent $75 and you have 3 items. And if you're like Steph and I's, like Steph's favorite store is Whole Food, which I call Whole Check. And she knows it. I love to shop at Sprouts. Still, Whole Check.
Yep, Sprouts right? Like that.
It's Whole Check. So, yep. I mean, I just think that we are really, really, we're turning the hands of time backwards. And we're not progressing as much as we think that we are. And it is a very daunting feeling to be in this situation. You know, that because this is impactful of everyone. This is impactful of, it's not just women, it's impactful of everyone. Because if I'm the woman who I'm impregnated by a man, right? And so, or by a sperm donor, I'm impregnated. But most times, if I'm impregnated by a sperm donor, I made that choice to go and be right. I made that choice, right? Mm-hmm. But now, also, now I'm pregnant, and I go to tell the person that I'm pregnant for, and that person says, I want no part of it. Oh, nothing, yes. Nothing new under the sun. I want no part of it. So now here I am, the woman who is now going to be left to do this all alone.
Well, mama's baby, papa's maybe.
Right. Right. Mm-hmm. And this happens even in marriage. So I don't want us to get into the, well, she was single and maybe she shouldn't have. Again, this is not about religion. This is about infringement of another person's rights. Right.
Years ago, when I was first pregnant with my first child, and we met a couple, and we went to a function. And she was like, oh, y'all both pregnant. Y'all should hang out, you know. And, you know, me and my husband, we all like, you know, having our first baby. And they were like, oh, y'all, this is your first baby. We can tell this is our third. And the husband was like, because I didn't plan on having no 3 children. Now she's pregnant. She's like, well, I didn't do it by myself. But this man was so unhappy about this baby. Mm-hmm. And, you know, through the time we were friends with these, you know, with these couples, every time after the baby, he was always harping on it. He just never got over the fact that she got pregnant again. Mm-hmm. Like he had nothing to do with it. And they're married.
Yeah. And they're married.
And this was about this third child that they had. And that's horrible, because I have never met people at that stage, but I have met people as children got older, and, you know, they were like, oh, that was a surprise. and they treat the third child so bad. They didn't get the same type of love and attention as the first two that they planned, because you just and they kind of just got, it's like the lost child. And it's really, really, really sad when
well, there are husbands who, there are also, so here's the thing. Some people probably don't even think about this. You're talking about a husband who's unhappy about his wife being pregnant again, but there are husbands who actually too make their wives go and have an abortion because they were like, we only talked about, one child or two child, a third child or fourth child was not in the plan. So you need to go take care of it.
But he didn't want children. He left his wife. He divorced her. He didn't want any children. They didn't want any children. That's how they decided.
Right. That's how they met, and that was the contract.
Yes. Exactly. See, my thing is, to me, if a man doesn't want, like when my husband's like, I don't want any more children, I said, well, you need to have a vasectomy. Because if you don't want any children, you should have a vasectomy. All my brothers have vasectomies, and so do my brother-in-laws. And everything still works, okay? But if you make that decision, first of all, it's less invasive for a man. Go have a vasectomy. You know what I mean? Because I'm not, I only have one tube, but I'm not putting a knot in it, okay? So we're not doing any of that. But but I know people that are like that, and I know that sometimes I have, like what I was going to say about the children. Oh, so when people have more than one child, or they plan, say you plan for these and you didn't plan for some other ones, they are treated differently, and they're not treated well at all. Mm-hmm. And they kind of like left to their own accord. And it's a sad situation.
Yes.
It is very, very, very sad. Right. And some mothers don't want the children. Some fathers force the mothers to have children. Some men get women pregnant on purpose. Now we've decided that we're not having any more children. Next thing you know, I'm pregnant, And so it's a lot of different things, but I do feel the one thing for sure that, like, I would have liked to have a third child. I can honestly tell you, I can see where the relationship was going, but it didn't stop me. Like I said to my cousin one day, my male cousin, I said, I would love to have a third child. I was, because that's not the man's choice. That's your choice. You go ahead and have a baby. I would never have a baby, even if we were in a good situation. I would never have a baby without us being on the same page.
Absolutely.
Because when you do that, it's the worst thing you can do, because still women and men are still trapping each other with babies, which I don't understand how you still doing that.
And the children suffer. The children suffer.
In the 21st century. Are you crazy? But people are still doing that. But it's like, and you're right, absolutely correct. The children suffer because babies and children do not keep marriages together and do not keep people together.
That's the children do not ask to come into this world.
And they don't. Well, here you are, thinking that you're having this baby and that's going to make it all well. No, because when that baby's crying in the middle of the night, that's the first thing. Oh, you want to have it? They ain't going to help you. I mean, people get downright indignant. Okay. And here you are with this baby, and the babies are a lot of work. They are not easy. It's a lot of work. You have to want that child, love that child. And I tell people, make sure you like the name that you name the baby, because you'll be calling the name a lot. It's true. So, stop,
you know what, I just literally thought about the fact we talking about infringement of rights, right? Listen, I think becoming a parent is the greatest infringement of one's right there ever could be. And I mean that with all love in my heart. But when you think about it, it really is. And so this is why it's so daunting to say to a woman, you don't have the right to make that decision anymore. Having children is not, it is not.
Having children is a beautiful thing when you want them.
Yes. And when you are not prepared, even if you want them, but if you're not prepared, it makes for a difficult situation.
Exactly.
It is just the same as, it's interesting to me because, like I always say, there's a portion of the world who will protect animals before they will protect another human being, right? Because for some reason in their lives, in their minds, animals are so vulnerable. Well, so are children. If not more so.
Exactly.
Right? Exactly. If not more so. It is just...
An animal will bite you. Child don't even have no teeth to bite you. I mean, I'm saying you think that's a little, oh, he's so cute, whatever, and he thinks he's
that
threatened.
little dog that looks like, you put that dog in the corner, that dog's gonna bite you. It's gonna, and it's at least gonna put up a good fight. It may not win, but at least it's gonna put up a fight.
Yeah,
a child, a baby who is defenseless and does not have the ability, has no ability to fight against a human being, an adult, or even another child. Who
they don't even sense danger like an animal. That's how that's what they call animals. They sense danger. Okay.
Right. Children don't know that.
No.
A baby doesn't know that you're gonna harm them.
But when they just don't know what to do. But you could tell, like, when they start to get older, like when they're like, about 6 months, they are even like maybe a little younger than that, because the dangers they start when a certain person picks them up, they'll start crying. And then as they start to get older and they're toddlers and somebody holds them, they be pushing you away because they feel your energy and they know that you're not a good person, something about you that they don't like, and so they do sense but they at the same time they don't have any nails to scratch you, they don't have any teeth to bite you, so you're still gonna win. You're still gonna win in that battle with the babies. But like they said, like if you think that how you really know probably when you're a parent, which would never happen, but imagine if your baby was basically delivered to you as a teenager. honey, you'd be like,
nobody would have children.
I really want to be a parent.
Population would be 0.
God knew. God is phenomenal. He said, we're gonna give them this tiny little things, what I mean?
That you get like a plant, like this little. It starts as a seed and it has to grow. And you have to nurture it, and you have to water it.
Exactly. But let me tell you, I think so, and I know some mothers, especially if you go through postpartum, but some mothers can't even take that screaming. You know what I mean? Sometimes some babies are like cuddly and quiet, and some they just scream all the time. They colicky. Like that.
Oh yeah.
But it's like this sometimes too. I've seen situations where you get like, oh, you just had this sweet little baby, you have another sweet little baby, and you're just having them because they're easy. And the first 4 could be easy. That 5th one comes, and you be like,
tear up everything. Change the whole game. Changes the whole game.
Like my girlfriend, she had one, and he was really, really good. She said that second one was just, it took a lot out of her. And she said it took a long time. Then she, it could take 4 years, and she got pregnant with twins after that. But she said it was a lot, And some kids are like that. And sometimes what they do need is their time.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do kids back to back to back. And then some kids, and then I think that becomes an assessment of how you're having your children to be successful at parenting. That even if you want more children, things are good, you could afford them, then you and your husband have made this decision together, or your partner, whomever, but then that baby, you think I could just 2 years I have another baby. You don't know how that's going to really work, because it depends on the child. I suppose the child has some type of situation that you need to, that child needs more.
It requires more than just
Yes, I had a girlfriend that had to make a decision because once she had all the tests, she found out the baby was going to have Down syndrome, and she decided not to move forward because she was like, but you do have to think of, she had a child already. So you do think about how is that going to affect the other child, and everything.
And the quality of life for all involved at this point.
Exactly.
But I guess, and all that we're saying, we're just simply saying you have the right.
Choices. But it's back to choices.
It's back to choices. Everybody should have the right to decide.
Exactly. It's about choices, And I think now we'll see what the plan B is that plan B pill is that it's gonna go up, until they start thinking about that, which is horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is it afterwards? It's called the plan B, right? Is that what
it's plan B? Mm-hmm.
Oh, it is. Yeah. So we probably see a surge in that, which I think a lot of females use that anyway.
Well, okay. So if you're banning abortion, you're also, so that's also going to change the playing field for with clinics, with contraceptives, with all of that. I mean, it's crazy to me because I remember when you became like well, I know my daughter, when my daughter, I think, turned 13, and I would go with her to, to the doctor, and the doctors would say to me, oh, no, they would ask my daughter first, are you sure you want your mom in here? And she'd say, why wouldn't I? Well, because, she doesn't, if you you want to talk about things, and she doesn't have to be in here. And I remember my daughter telling the doctor, whatever I'm going to say to you, my mom will either knows it already, or definitely she would need to be here to hear it as well, because I already told her everything. And why wouldn't I want her in here? Which is true, right? Because I think what you do with that is you put your children, now you're starting to take parent children and kind of pit them against one another and say, oh, well, don't tell me your little secrets or your heart's desires, because I don't want to hear it. But then when something happens, then you're going to tell me, oh my God, what kind of parent were you that you didn't know that this was what was going on with my child? Well, if you made it so that a child could be able to get birth control at a young age, and they don't have to have a conversation with me, bravo for, yes, them teaching them how to protect themselves. But also on the flip side of that is that you have young women out here, young men out here getting engaged in things that they're only thinking this is just physical, right? Not talking, not factoring in the emotional, all of the things that go together when you are intimate with someone. Pregnancy, diseases, depression, being ostracized, or being called out for having even participated in an act, because someone then decides, I'm going to share the fact that you and I, that you did this, that, and the other with me, right? When you thought that this was just me and you, and it's now everybody. There's so many things that this decision will now impact. And I know people are always saying, we just want to get back to the way things used to be. Well, just because it used to be doesn't mean it was right. And now going forward, we have to be more mindful and more conscious about the decisions that we're making, and making decisions that are effective for the not just the majority, for all involved, because we can't always be the majority, and all of us are not always in the majority, right? There's always going to be the majority, there's always going to be the middle, and there's always going to be the one who you are the minority, right? And so we have to work better at creating an equal playing field without infringing and ostracizing people and telling them you don't have the right to do such and such and such, so I guess we're going to see how this goes. And I will say, and from the political action side, this is why you exercise your right to vote. This is why, when you say my vote doesn't matter,
you have to.
Oh my God, this is where this is, things like this that should make us all go, oh my God, don't close your eyes. Don't sleep on these political campaigns. Don't sleep on when someone's running for an office. Don't sleep on when there's going to be an election for a president. Don't say, I don't like either one of them. Well, go read their records.
Exactly.
Go figure out which one of those candidates is better, the best of those who are there. And sometimes there may not be a best, but there may be the better at the moment for what is going on. This is why we have to vote. It's so important.
You don't vote for parties, you vote for policy.
Yes.
That's what you vote for.
Absolutely. 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 Because sometimes your party may have gone completely left.
Off the rail.
Right? Off the rail. And so, you just have to pay attention. This is why it's really important. So nonetheless, Steph and I are not going to solve the world problems, but together we can help do something.
Been here for a minute, over half a century.
Yeah, right. Can you believe that? Oh my God, Steph, I was laughing the other day, say to myself, I cannot believe. So, with all, God's plan and God's willingness, right, to allow me to see 3 more years to be to 60. And I'm thinking, good God, right? how'd you get to 60? Right. But
that's a beautiful thing.
But so excited to just be, right?
Exactly.
You know, being a woman is awesome. Being alive and being a woman is awesome. That's why I said, this is why we examine the facethood, the many facets of womanhood, because
we're diamonds.
Yes, we are. And we shine. And we shine. And so
all different cuts, you know.
Oh, come on, girl. All different cuts.
I'm always an emerald. I like the emerald cut.
Oh my God, you're an emerald. Okay. I love the emerald. Go ahead, emerald girl.
I love the emerald. But you know, it's like it's funny when my mom, she must have turned 76. And she said she's going out, her sisters picked her up. And it's like, oh, it's a birthday, girl. How you feel? She said, I feel like I felt when I was 20. I'm just 76. You know, because the reality, it doesn't really change. But for me, because with, you know, my parents who raised me, my mother was already well into her 40s. And her sisters, well, a lot of them were in their 50s already. Right. So I was this child with these women who were in their 40s and 50s. And they were just young to me. Right. So my aspect about that was always been different, you know. So that was, you know, not to mention that my grandmother was still having babies in her 50s. So it was just different, you know, for me. Whereas people think that's old. That was never old to me. Nope. I never really, me personally, I never really felt, I started feeling a little bit older once I became a mom. Prior to that, I was just thinking that's what you do. You know, you go to school, you know, get your own place, you get married, you buy a house, then you have kids. Now when you become a mother, have some kids, then that's something different, because now you're responsible for other human beings. Right. You know? Right. And I was, after I had my baby, 4 months later, I turned 36. So basically from the time I was born to up until that time, I was just like, you know, not a child, but, you know, I was just fancy free, footloose, fancy free. Right. Up until that point. And so now I'm going to be 58 in July next month, and which is what starts on Friday, but I'm going to be 58. Now, both my kids, they're not quite grown because we're still paying for them, but they're almost grown. Yes. But by the time I turn 60, I'm back to, you know, footloose and fancy free again. Yes. Because now they really are into their grownness, you know.
Don't go have no more babies though. Okay.
Exactly. Well, they'll be out of college.
No, I said, don't you go have any more babies.
Oh, no. We're not having any more babies. We're done with that. I know. No, we're not having any more babies.
Footloose and fancy free. And they're talking about, guess what?
No, that's why my grandma's having babies in her 50s. Like, yo, no, I have an uncle who's younger than me. Like, no way. No.
Don't say no way now. Just listen.
Oh, no, there's a way, but we're not doing
right. That. Okay. All right.
I can't imagine. I was just telling my daughter the other day, I said, honey, I can't even imagine. I'm not dating anyone now, but I will be dating soon. But don't tell me you got a 5-year-old. Yeah, we can't do that. Nah, we're not doing that, because I'm ready.
And listen, we all know that woman. Huh?
Yeah. I said, I'm gonna call. He calls like, so Bahamas for the weekend. Okay, I'm there. You know what I mean? I'm not trying. Nah. Now when you had, or even to have to deal with another woman on that level, you know, because I'm looking to get married again. Yeah, no, we're not doing that. You know, like we and my friend, I told her this guy, he teaches student driving. And so even when I had met him, and through my daughter, you know, he got my daughter her license, my son's license, that's been introduced to my girlfriend, and he did all 4 of her kids too. And when I met him, he had because he was older than me at that time, so he's like into his 60s now. And when I met him, he was late 50s, had a 3-year-old.
You know, bless his heart.
Like, are you crazy?
Bless his heart.
I can't begin to imagine. He said, like, now she was saying something happened. He had something with the baby, and now the kid's like 9 or whatever. And I'm like, can you imagine? But it's happening because you're getting with these younger women, or not maybe so much younger, but maybe women in their 40s, but they never had any babies. And then, you know, you're in your 50s or 51, 52, you decide to have a baby. And aside, mind you, I think he has grown kids already. It's like, nah, you having babies, you over there. I can't help you. It's like we went to our what year reunion? I think it had to be our 35th class reunion. And one of our classmates is our reunion from high school. He was like, "Oh, I just got married," and he was one of like the fine guys we went to school with. And he's still fine too. Looks exactly the same. We all in junior high school together, high school. And so he was like, "But I'm not having any children," right? So I called everybody over. I said, "Oh yeah, he just got married. He's not having no children." I said, "His wife is 35." We all just started cracking up. It was like laughing at him. It was like, I don't know, maybe a year or so later, we see on Facebook he had a baby.
That's right.
That's like, right. You marry somebody, because I think at that time we're like 45 or something like that. And I said, yeah. I said, oh my God. No, I think we were like 48. And so I think his wife was like 38, 39, whatever. Like, did she have any kids? You have any kids? And he didn't have any kids. She didn't have any kids. They sure enough had a baby.
Wow. Yeah.
So I mean, even if somebody tells you that they don't, which I think that's never good, you should be honest. If you want children, you should say you want children. You don't want, you should be honest. You know, I know years ago I was dating somebody. He said that he did not want any children, and he already had a child. He said he didn't want any more children, and I just stopped dating him. I don't know that if that would have went, but I didn't want to put myself in that position because I knew I wanted children.
Well, again, it's what? You're right. So that's what this was all about today. It's about having the right. It is your right to be able to make the decisions that will affect you positively, negatively. You know, whatever it is, you have the right to make a decision about. So we hope that you all, you know, understood where we were coming from today. Again,
we don't have your right now, which is sad.
No judgment, just wanting to just discuss a topic that is, you know, it's
relevant.
As Wendy Williams would say, it's a hot topic, and it's
a hot topic. It's not going anywhere. It's not going nowhere. Taraji was talking about last night on BET Awards. Who is not talking about it?
Yeah, everyone's talking about it. So
everybody's talking about it because it's a sad day.
Yeah. Well,
definitely is.
We hope that you all have a lovely week. Right?
Absolutely.
Enjoy your week. Enjoy your time. Don't infringe upon anybody else's rights if you don't have to.
She's gonna be in New Orleans.
And don't let them infringe upon yours.
I'll tell you.
I am going to Essence Festival.
That's right.
For the first time ever. I'm so excited. So looking forward to it. So
I'm just gonna have that image of girls trip in my mind because that's how they
no, you don't. Because no. First of all, there will be no television. Listen, the revolution will not be televised. Absolutely will not. Yeah. And definitely anything of that nature will not be televised.
But yeah, that movie will get you in the mood. That boy.
Yeah, I might watch that. I might watch that tonight just so I can
watch it to get you all ready for it, because that was like, oh my God. That movie is so funny. Oh Lord. I supposed to make a second one. I hope they still do.
Yeah.
That movie was funny as all get out.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we again hope you all garnered some good information or at least enjoyed our discussion today. We, of course, always love talking to you all. We love talking to one another. So that's kind of how we go, you know, how we flow. We just, you know.
That's how this all came about. A conversation that's taped, right?
We have actually probably 10 different conversations before we actually come and talk to you.
That's true. We have a lot of conversations on days we're not even taping.
Right. Absolutely. Then we go, man, we should tape that.
Yeah, we were on the phone for a while yesterday.
Yes, we were. But all is good. Well, honey bunny, enjoy the rest of the week.
I will, honey bunny. You enjoy yours also. Yes.
I will. I shall. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
And
I
then
look for every day is a blessing from God that I wake up and I can walk, I can
absolutely.
talk, I can move, and it's a blessed day. Life is good, you know. Besides
Life
that,
is
because
wonderful.
I wear rose-colored glasses. I do.
I do
You know,
too.
I recognize what's wrong in the world, but I don't live there.
Right.
It
And
just makes
because you
things
don't have
easier.
to.
You know, you don't have to. You don't
Yeah.
have to.
And
You know, just be
it's all, and
positive.
it's also too about the acceptance. There's some
Mhm,
things we really cannot do anything about. You just gonna have to, you're gonna have to work your way through it. Right.
mhm.
And the
This is
things
true.
that we can do something about, then do that.
Come
Work
on
on
out.
that. Right.
Exactly.
Work on
Exactly.
those things. And then
Exactly.
the things that, as one would say, are the thorns in your side. Sometimes they're thorns in your sides because, you know, there's something you need to change. There's
Which is
something you
true.
need to
And we
do.
know that.
Yeah, it's something
Yep.
you need to do. It's something you need to do differently. It's something you need to either fix, get rid of, get, or learn, or be a blessing to somebody about.
Yeah. It's
That's
a
how you have
lesson in
to,
everything.
that's how you have to look at life, right? Because
It's true
even
though.
the thorn in your side, the thorn in your side is there for a reason. It's there
Mm-hmm.
because it's a pressure point to get you to move,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's all about
Mm-hmm.
what is, it's still your decision. So don't let anybody infringe upon your decisions. Don't let anybody infringe upon your rights. And
That's
sometimes
right.
that's hard. Sometimes that's hard, but just keep your eyes open, keep your head up. You all have
Yep.
a wonderful, wonderful day. We love you all. Thank you for joining us.
Hey. Have a great day. Bye, honey
Yeah.
bunny. Love you.
Bye,
Bye.
honey bunny. I love you too.